Let's try and understand what's happening with Bajaj Auto, the monthly sales data. What's the, projection like going forward? Let's welcome on board Rakesh Sharma, the ED at Bajaj Auto. Rakesh, hi, good morning. Good to have you on ET Now as always. Let's first address the hot topic, tariffs and Trump. Does life change for you, Rakesh, at all at Bajaj Auto?
Good morning. No, well, not really directly. Our exports to the US, which we do under the KTM and Triumph brands, which are manufactured here and co-developed, account for less than about 2% of our exports. And in terms of imports from the US to India, you see, we are competing with all brands from Japan, US, China, India, in over 100 countries. So I guess the competitive intensity doesn't change for us. And largely, the US portfolio of motorcycles doesn't collide with our portfolio. So I would say that there is really no direct impact. However, we all know that there is a disturbance in the world order, and the impact on currencies and some other countries which could be our destination markets. There could be a secondary indirect impact over a period of time if all this persists.
Morning first, sir. Nikunj also joining in. I'm looking at the total dispatch numbers, export and domestic included. 3.2 becomes 3.8, 3.5 becomes 3.7. Can I firmly say that now the numbers for Bajaj Auto would definitely be above 3.5 lakhs per month? I mean, is that the base number we should look forward to in FY26?
Yes, there can be nothing definitive in this volatile environment, but we are certainly planning for beyond that.
One good and great news for Bajaj has been a late entrant in the electric two-wheeler market and a sizable market share. Are you confident that you will continue to keep on increasing your market share even though you're a late entrant in the electric two-wheeler market? I mean, something you started, 3 years ago?
Well, I wouldn't say that we were a late entrant. In fact, we were one of the early entrants, but there was a period when we did have issues around the supply chain, both in terms of availability and the kind of cost architecture which we were driving for. Those got resolved, let's say about 12 months ago, and when we were at a number 5 position. And that allowed us to confidently pursue top-line growth in the EV segment. Because today, it's not just that we have leapt from a number 5 position to a number 1 position in Q4. As we have done that, we are also out of the red zone and beyond break even. So there's a double move over there. And we can, because it has happened like that, we will continue to pursue leadership in the electric segment.
Okay, now specifically on domestic market, the average number seems to be just in and around 2 lakh. So for the aggregate picture, we said you're aiming above 3.5 lakh units per month. Can I say for the domestic market now the threshold would be about 2 lakh for FY26?
See, while we are looking at an industry growth of 5 to 6% in the coming year, and this is in line with what the industry has achieved in FY25, the nature of growth is quite non-secular and non-linear. So to say that, constantly that will become a benchmark is not right, because we have found that quarter-to-quarter differences can be quite sharp and steep. Our objective really beyond is not just, having a certain threshold volume level, but is to endeavor that in every quarter, we in our chosen segment, which is the 125cc plus segment, we are outpacing the industry. Now, the industry could, in some quarter be as low as 1 or 2%, and in other quarters could be 15, 16%, as we have seen last year. And our attempt would be to outpace that. Now, if that drops it below 2 lakhs or takes it much above 2 lakhs is a separate point of view. The key determinant factor for us is outpacing the industry in our area of focus.
Good morning, Mr. Sharma. This is also joining in the conversation. I just wanted to understand about the capacity expansion that's underway. So what's the current sort of a monthly run rate that we can expect, especially for the CNG bike and Chetak EV lineup, given the fact that they are the latest ones? A lot of excitement when you talk about both of these offerings from Bajaj Auto.
Well, I'm not sure what capacity expansion you are referring to, because it's not that we have undertaken some major capacity expansion. So let me just clarify over there. We are pretty comfortable on capacities. There may be a little balancing here and there between the categories which is there, but there is nothing major which is undertaken. Yes, and we think that both EV and CNG are good growth platforms for us into the future. EV started much earlier, both in two-wheelers and subsequently in three-wheelers. So it is at a more sort of a mature stage, or out of the nascent phase of development, and it will drive a lot of our growth, and not at the cost of bottom line, like I was saying earlier. CNG based the Freedom, which is our CNG based motorcycle, we feel is at a nascent stage right now. The product acceptance has been very good, particularly with those commuters who are traveling long distances, and where the ecosystem of CNG pumps supports the CNG bike and the CNG availability. As we move from these early adopters into larger majority, which is a huge catchment area for us, we will be, engaging with this large majority so that we can force the adoption. But there is a lot of wait and watch in a very positive way. And as more and more bikes get onto the road and people get comfortable about using CNG on a bike, we think that it will unlock another growth opportunity for us and become a strong growth platform in FY26 and FY27.
Export and domestic units every month, the gap is only 20% now. But profits in exports, I'm assuming, are higher. There is a currency tailwind, and when you export, there's always an advantage because of technology and brand advantage. So as your exports, they move up, which is what the trend has been in last couple of years. Can I say that the impact on profitability and margin will also be felt in coming quarters, which is that the story for Bajaj Auto is simple: export ka data dekho. If export is going higher, margins will also go higher.
Yeah, I think you're right, because over the years, the exports business average profitability is more than the domestic business. And the construct in Bajaj Auto, if you see the FY25, is that, volumes have grown at about a couple of percentage points at an overall level, but value in terms of revenue, we have achieved a milestone of 50,000 crores this year, which is almost, I think, a 14% growth. And while we have not closed the financial results for quarter 4, but that in the last 3 quarters, we have delivered a 20% EBITDA. So the bottom line grows faster than the value, and the value growth is faster than the volume growth. That's the overall construct, and I think we would like to keep it that way. The expansion of exports, particularly in the markets of LATAM and some markets of Asia, ASEAN, will be very helpful in maintaining that architecture.
9 variants in the 125cc and new 9 variants in the 125cc between December and March. I'm talking about, unless my data is wrong, new 9 variant in 125cc segment to be launched between December and March, right? Is that data right?
I would say December and March, but I would say October and March would certainly, yes. I would say that we have put in, new products and variants which would be around that number. Yeah.
When a new launch happens, it tends to have attention, it tends to have impact on the industry, it tends to lead to more market share. So do you think for this financial year and for the remainder calendar year, the trend for Bajaj Auto could be new launches, numbers would be better than the industry, and there definitely could be a scope for market share gain in the 125cc?
Yes, this is, our strategic focus. We are, because we feel operating vigorously in the 125cc plus segment gives us a good combination of, top line growth and bottom line growth. We feel degrees of freedom to optimize that to a satisfactory level from our point of view is much higher. And the strategy to grow in those segments, in that segment, is through sub-segmentation. And because the customer is becoming more and more diverse and more, I would say, strident about their own needs and requirements, and which could be just nuanced, whether it is colors or whether it is, small variations in the product. So we have constructed a portfolio which offers a great choice to the customer, so you can choose the kind of motorcycle you want. And we will continue to leverage our R&D prowess to ensure that we have an offer in every meaningful sub-segment. So you will see this strategy continue to play out in FY26 as well.
Once upon a time, I would track Bajaj Auto and I would say their margins are almost at 20%. When will I say it again? How soon do you think I will come on ET Now and say that Bajaj Auto has gone back to its historical margins? It's a valid question, right?
Quarter 1 to 3 is at 20%.
No, it used to be the full year. I mean, 15 was the average. I mean, I'm just mixing up with my numbers, pardon me today. But can you go back to that peak margin which you enjoyed, let's say, which were 20% plus?
Well, obviously the final quarter's results have not yet been closed, so I can't comment on that. But you can see that in quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, so 3 quarters, we have been 20% plus, which is, I think, quite best in class. But having said that, it's a consequence. In Bajaj Auto, you got, multiple businesses, domestic and overseas, so it's not that we exactly target 20%. It's just that every business unit tries to optimize its growth, share, and profitability. And then whatever, the consequent overall corporate margin it lands into. It's just that is the way the business has come together. So I wouldn't say that, there is a holy line which we will draw and say that it will always be 20%. It all depends a lot on, competitive action and the kind of inflation which we have to deal with, which has an impact on demand, etc. But for sure, we can expect that we will lead, we will have best-in-class margin performance in our industry.
Leadership in margins across the board, and that's what you can expect from Bajaj Auto. Thank you so much for your time today, sir.
Thank you.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.